When communicating, emotions count for more than logic. When communicating, emotions count for more than logic. I got a clip that I'm gonna play, but before I play this clip, I want you guys to understand that I want to tackle this from all angles, men and women, because we often have. I think communication is very important in all type of relationships, especially marriages, romance, friends, whatever, just relationships. Communication is really important, and a lot of times there's a lot of emotion that I had within these conversations and not enough logic. Even when logic is presented, it's attacked in some cases. This particular clip that I'm about to play is where a woman is speaking about what men would probably want to say if they had the chance to. So we're going to play this clip.
I'm going to say it because men can't. More often than not, women will argue with their emotions so that they're always right. Not all the time, but more often than not, women will argue with their feelings so that they're always right. Because no matter what, your feelings are valid. Period. That's the full sentence. But now, if we're having a conversation, I tell you, you weren't supposed to feel that way. Even if I didn't mean to make you feel that way, if I tell you that your feelings are dumb, now I'm gaslighting you. But the only person that could validate those feelings is you. And I have to accept how you feel. Period. But then if I try and introduce logic to the situation, then I'm missing the point. Okay. As a man, if you try and argue your feelings, then you're a bitch. Okay. So now there's no conversation to be had. It's just, you made me feel this way, apologize, and let's get over it. But I didn't get to get off nothing about how I felt or how I feel about the situation or what I thought. And this is coming from a woman that processes her emotions and feelings in private and argues with logic and unbiased worldview opinions in public. So I'm just trying to figure out when do y'all accept or try and hear the other point of view? That's all I want to know. I'm just curious.
I just want to give sis a round of applause. That's all.
So we saw the angle that
That was all precious.
we heard her take it. I think it's a very important piece of content right there that was played because I think the men can relate. I could be wrong, but I think the men can relate. But let's go ahead and address what she said, but also in general, when communicating emotions count for more than logic. It's a great discussion. It's an awesome panel right now. I know we can be able to get through it, but let's see if we can learn something here on the panel as well as teach for the people that's watching. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Jay first on this one. What were your thoughts when you heard that video? Is that something you think she's speaking facts? Is it something that you've been through? And what can you put out there for the audience?
Absolutely, because most people are not equipped to see past how they feel. You know, me included at times, like I know somebody's telling me, and we have people that we reach out to because we know, okay, I'm gonna hear what I want to hear, but then you'll have a person to go out to reach out to because you're gonna hear what you need to hear. So you have to have a balance on both of those. You have to have those two people. That duality is important because you don't want to get too caught up in your feelings like, yo, you are wrong. So in that regard, feel how you want to feel is natural, but understand that logically how you're feeling is incorrect. Or if you're reacting to something emotionally in that capacity, when logic is on the table, you have some work to do. You have some work to do. Feel how you want to feel, but work through that, because that's only going to land you in bad situations. If you can't see past how you're feeling versus what is reality or what is fact. I hear people say the truth can never be disrespect. And I think, while that's harsh, it's facts, it's truth. If I'm telling you the truth, like Chicago is not going to be in the Super Bowl this year.
Hey.
You don't like to hear that, but it's a fact. But that's my take. and, and my last thing is just, I mean, in regards to, emotions or women wanting to feel, just imagine if, you women went, let's say 15 to 20 years just getting passes, men never saying anything that was on their mind. We spoke amongst ourselves and we shared our experiences, but we never said anything to them. And then imagine for the next 5 years, there was just a parade telling them everything that they didn't want to hear. You know what I mean? That's what you see is happening here within like the last 4 to 5 years. I mean, there've been spots of people that, spoke that truth and then they'll get shut up or taken off the air or, swept under a rug. But collectively, there's like a parade float going through every town these women in, speaking stuff that they've never heard for the past 20 years. You know what I mean? So they fighting, man.
Shout out to the Green Gang right here. Cash Flow Hustle says logic and emotion are both important in life. I agree. It's all about balance, though. It's about when and where, how you use it. Because emotion can be good in certain instances. I mean, it's like care, right? A bit like care, but then when you using it against the person you're supposed to be building with, then it's tearing the empire down. So you got to understand like when to use how to use the emotion when it's important. Go ahead, Real Precious. You said that homegirl was spot on. When communicating emotions count for more than logic. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, she was definitely spot on. Most times when women speak on the behalf of men, we get attacked. We get called pick me's, we get called all types of names. However, there's nothing wrong with having an awareness um about what men go through and being able to clearly see what men go through. From my Christian background, is written that it is not good for men to be alone. Right. So man was created, everything was created, everything was good. But the one thing that wasn't good was that man was alone. So if we're going to join with the man and everything in his world is already good, we have to understand how to communicate with that man, which means that it's probably going to get a little ugly. It's probably going to, you're probably going to be finding your way through that process. But we're also called to respect men, and men are called to love us, because those are the lines that get blurred. When women respect men, that means you are understanding his logical point of view, because he's a man. He's coming with logic. You do understand that you're a woman and that you're coming with emotion, which means when you're joining with that man, you might have to, simmer down on those emotions, because you're not by yourself anymore. You're joined with a man who you need to respect. Hank is actually going to join me tomorrow. I'm having an all men's panel. But when men speak about their emotions, when they talk about, their emotions, like she said, you guys are called the B words. You know what I mean? You're looked at as not tough. You're not the man anymore. When in all actuality, you're still human. Just because y'all are men and y'all get things done and you're driven and things like that, it doesn't mean that you're not human. And so a lot of the times your emotions aren't even brought to the surface. And some, when they are brought to the surface, it comes out in anger and rage, because you don't have someone that is there respecting you. And I think that, the more that we have conversations like this, the more that we're able to put certain things out on Front Street and actually talk them out, where, men are able to speak with women like Coach K, Balancing Codes, myself, and you're able to have these conversations where you're not screaming, where you're not yelling at one another, where you're not, coming at each other. We know that we're here for a common goal. We want the family to come together. We want marriages to happen again. So if we're here for a common goal, we have to respect one another. We have to be able to speak to each other. We have to be able to listen while the other talks. And so that we've gotten so far away from that. And, when it comes to emotions, I always say women need to work on that. Women need to work on their mouths. Women need to work on how they present themselves. And women know this. women know where their blockages are. They know where they fall short and they fail to make the changes. And like she said in the video, oh, well, when a woman has her emotions, she's the one that validates those emotions. That man can't tell her she wrong. That man can't tell her, hey, maybe you should look at it like this logically, you know, bringing logic into the conversation. I see it this way, or, you know, I see it kind of happening this way. Maybe you could pull back here or there. And she's going to argue him down. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. What man is going to want to be with a woman like that? If you're not able to work together, if you're not able to come together, what's the point of him having you on his team? So I think women need to understand that your emotions, they may be valid, but go talk to a counselor if you want somebody to really hone in on what's going on with you. Because your man is going to bring logic. He's going to bring it back down to surface level, because you all the way up here. He's going to bring it back down to surface level. Let's be reasonable about this. But a lot of times women don't want to admit that there are things that allow their emotions to get out of control that have nothing to do with that man. He's just in front of you and you are unlocking and unloading on him. Now, he may say something, there may be some actions that may trigger what your actual problem is, but that don't mean that you attack him. That means maybe you need to listen to him because he's seeing something that you don't see. And that's okay, because that's why y'all on each other's team. But we really need to mask some of our emotions. Like I said, if you can't do that, go see someone who's going to be able to help you control and get those emotions under control. So when you speak to him, you're able to do so in a calm manner. And if you're not going to always agree, but that's okay. At least you know how to control your emotions. And that's why men don't come to women like that for conversations, because they know that she's not going to agree, and that disagreement is not going to end well. And so they just don't go to her. They'll go to someone else. They'll go to the girl that they can talk to. They'll go to someone who actually listens, someone who can actually use, you know, the same logic that they're using. Like she said, I'm the same way. I deal with my emotions in private, because I know as a woman, I could probably be over the top sometimes, but I also have to come back to logic to say, okay, I'm being a bit much. I need to tone it down. But you have to have that self-awareness too. And women just think it's all about them, their emotions, you know, they're the queen of the palace, and they, you know, no, you have to be able to work with the man in that way and understand that sometimes you just need help for what you're going through. And that's okay, because he'd rather you come healed than hollering. That's it.
Pressure, you normally don't talk as much, but you was all right.
Look, it's Sunday.
Good with that. I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
All right. Go ahead, Balance. What are your thoughts about it when communicating? Emotions count for more than logic.
Precious said that so well. She really did. And what she's speaking about is emotional intelligence, because a lot of women lack emotional intelligence. They cannot control their emotions. And people think that women only do this to men. No, women do it to us too. Just to put that out there, like, women attack us in the same way, over talk us, yell at us. There is a certain thing called a girl code. That's a real thing. I know we don't like to talk about it, but the girl code is real. And when one of them that doesn't make sense and is talking nonsense, then the other ones are just like, yeah. It's crazy to me. And I think it was learned in school and childhood, and they all wrong together. They're like, at least we're together though, but they're all wrong. And we see it so much. We see it on these panels too. Like, women love to let their emotions take over them. And this actually happened to me 2 Sundays ago. Yes, I'm gonna bring this up because I wanted to talk about it in the midst of it, but I couldn't because the women there were not being logical. And I tend to be more logical in the way I think. I studied emotional intelligence, so I had to learn that. I didn't come like this. It's something I had to work on. It's a skill that you can develop. So I'm not saying, oh, I'm perfect. No, I'm saying this is something I work on, and a lot of women do not work on it, and you could tell the difference. So when I was on the panel, I remember B. Taylor, you know, she didn't like what I was saying when I was talking about men. So she started like yelling over me, right? And talking about how she doesn't care what men think. And I'm like, well, I do care about what men think. You're being emotional right now. She was like, you're not attacking me by saying I'm being emotional. And I'm like, I'm not attacking you. Like, it's like me saying your hair is black. Like, it's a fact. You're being emotional. It's not, I'm not attacking you. But then, like, she couldn't calm herself in that. She was just being emotional. And we see this a lot of times. A lot of women do this when they can't control their emotions. They attack you and then play victim at the same time, which is kind of ironic. Because how are you attacking and the victim at the same time, girl? How you learn that? Like, that's crazy. So I'm just saying, they do it to men all the time. I don't know how men deal with it. I honestly don't. Thank God I'm a woman. I don't know how men deal with it, but they also do it to other women. And not only that, we see mothers doing this to daughters. We see friends doing it to each other. It's a culture that women have within themselves that it really needs to be removed. It needs to be removed, but it starts with us, right? It starts with us having these conversations and being real and holding each other accountable, but also holding ourselves accountable as women. And when you see your sister doing something wrong, forget that sister code. Like, tell her it's wrong. Like, I don't, like, it's wrong. It's wrong. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. Like, I'm holding men and women accountable. It is what it is. But I think a lot of women have an issue with that because they were raised like that. And a lot of times their mothers were like that too, just being honest. So that's why it's hard for them. But I mean, it starts with us. Hold yourself accountable, hold your friends accountable, and cut it out. And then I think in these times, because of social media, it's much easier for me to notice who these women are. Like, it's easy for you to spot these women really quickly. So I feel like it's easy for you guys to point them out and steer clear of those women, right? I feel like you have all of these signs now, and you're like, this is not a woman for me. So then choose somebody else. Sometimes guys stay in stuff too long. They stay in situations with women who are very combative for way too long, and it's unhealthy, and it's a disservice to yourself. Like, there are women who don't have that issue. Choose different women. I know we could say so many of them are like that. That's true. But if you can't work with that specific woman, move on. Like, I told my uncle this, like, he's actually unfortunately serving time because he was dealing with a combative woman right now that got him into a fight with another person. And it was just a whole mess because he couldn't just walk away when he saw all of these red flags. So, I mean, stop looking at the surface of a woman and see if you can have a conversation with her, if you can connect with her, if you could actually reason with her. Because a woman who isn't reasonable, she's going to mess up your life long term. I'm telling you right now, I'm trying to warn y'all. She will mess up your life. And I'm tired of seeing my brothers. Yeah, right? I'm tired of seeing my brothers go down this path where a woman done wreck their life because she's not reasonable. A lot of men get killed like this. Seriously, we're joking and stuff, but this is a real thing. Like, even men in my family in jail over a woman. It could have been avoided. So get away from these combative, crazy, loud, unreasonable girl code women, period. Hank, I'm gonna be you today. Hold on.
Leave them at the restaurant. Leave their ass at the restaurant.
Right?
Oh, that's right.
I'm tired of seeing it too. And I want to warn my brothers too, and my uncles and my family members too. So really choose wisely. All right, I'm gonna stop. But yeah.
And I said earlier, protect your meat. I had a panel and someone has said it on the panel, but protect your money, your energy, your attention, and your time. You have to protect that as a man. And if there's a woman that's violating that or going, too far, then you got to cut her off.
Cut her way off. Don't still have sex with her. Cut her off. Block her number. Don't talk to her ever. Like, cut her off. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Louise, what are your thoughts, sir? When communicating, emotions count for more than logic.
Man, I'm loving this energy today. I'll say this, balance and congruency is very important when navigating between logic and emotion, right? I think we're in a very overly emotional society today. I think that a lot of people expect you to kind of just lean into your emotion. And this is why men have to learn how to become the thermostat and not the thermometer. You got to set the pace. And I think in certain conversations when certain things are brought up or even weaponized against you that might have you feeling away, your ability to kind of practice stoicism, to stay calm, cool, and collective in that moment, you know what I'm saying, will show much different, because they're gonna burn out. They're gonna get tired, they're gonna burn out. And I think at that moment, when they get it out, is a perfect opportunity to kind of interject some logic, you know, showcase where they're wrong, and kind of showcase and navigate the flaws and the errors of their position, right? And the things that they've done. I think sometimes when these conversations happen, I think it's easy to kind of get triggered, especially when conversation, especially between topics that are sometimes very close or dear. Because there's a lot of things that we discussed today on this panel and previous panels that are very close to people, you know, and they haven't fully recovered from that. They haven't fully worked through that. And even the mere thought or someone bringing it up, it's just a trigger word, and it just gets them going. And I think that one of the things that we tend to do very poorly is effectively listen. I think we listen, but unfortunately we're not comprehending what the other person is telling us, because I think, you know, women in this case do tend to get wrapped up too far into their emotion. And and I think that Precious and Balance said it really, really well. You know, I think it's really, really comes down to emotional intelligence. And those are the two key factors that kind of separates you between the next person.
All right. Go ahead, Coach K. Communicating emotions count for more than logic.
Yeah. So emotions do count. I mean, we're human at the end of the day, but if you're thinking something irrational and illogical, then your emotions do not count. I find a lot of times, and I used to be like this, but now I am aware and I manage my emotions, and I teach my clients to do the same. If you're blaming someone else for the way that you feel, now you have to wait for them to change their behavior or, you know, do something in order for you to feel better. So you are relying solely on them for your feelings. And a lot of times people do that with people they say they don't even like. That is a choice, but you are always in control of your emotions. You might be giving that away without even realizing it, but that's on you.